Hey guys, sorry it's been so long since I've posted a vlog. I've been very busy and I've also been in Australia for 10 days. So yeah, that's what this whole vlog is going to be about today. I went with my friend Nina, who is the girl in my Tauranga video. We flew to Sydney first and spent a couple of days there, and then we rented a car and drove to Melbourne. It is about a 15-hour drive the way that we went because we wanted to take the scenic route along the coast, but we broke it up into 2 days, and with 2 drivers, it was awesome. Then we spent a couple of days in Melbourne. We did a day on the Great Ocean Road, we did a day on Phillip Island, and it was just an absolutely amazing trip. There were so many things that could have gone wrong that didn't, and I'm very grateful and appreciative of that. Also, I kind of realized after the fact that I really didn't get that much footage of our trip. I think I was too busy having fun, but I did get the highlights of most of the fun, cool things that we did. So enjoy the footage, and I will talk about some of the things afterwards. I'm trying kangaroo for the first time. Here we go. It's really good, but I'm really sad that it's a kangaroo.
On a hippie trailhead full of zombies, I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land down under? A women go and men go low. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover. Take cover.
How are you feeling, Jay?
I'm so excited.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. The sun ain't changing the atmosphere, architecture unfamiliar. I could get used to this. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. We're south of the equator, navigator. Gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. Deep sea diving round the clock, bikini bottoms, lager tops. I could get used to this. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. We got two in the front, two in the back, sailing along, and we don't look back. And you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone, a someone, a someone.
Wow, I loved Australia. It was so much fun. I think going into it, the thing I was afraid of most were snakes and bugs and spiders and whatnot, because literally everything in Australia is out to get you. Like, whether it be a snake, a bug, a spider, a jellyfish, a shark, like anything, it is like the most dangerous continent on the earth. So I was actually quite terrified, but I am so happy we saw absolutely nothing. And on the other hand, we saw everything I did want to see. So we saw wild kangaroos, which was so cool. And we saw a wild koala bear, which was probably even cooler because there are people who go their entire lives who live in Australia and they never see a wild koala. And we just happened to be driving along and there was the watch out for koala sign, and we were driving slow and we were looking up in the trees and we saw one. It was just the coolest thing ever. The only thing I didn't see that Nina did see was a wombat. Actually, the first roadkill animal that we saw was a wombat, which was very sad. And the second roadkill animal we saw was a kangaroo, which was even sadder. So yeah, the first wombat and kangaroo I seen in person were dead. But it made up for all of the live ones that we did see later on. It's honestly crazy to think about how many dead kangaroos there were just like on the side of the road. Just anything like a deer, raccoon, possum, like anything back home that seems normal, but it's a kangaroo. Like, oh, it was quite terrifying. Okay, so we started in Sydney. We were really annoyed though because our flight was delayed like 8 hours, so we missed an entire day in Sydney that we were supposed to have. But we made up for it the next day by just jam-packing a ton of stuff into one day. So in the morning we went to the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, and it was really awesome. This was Easter Sunday, and we walked all the way across the Harbour Bridge to Luna Park, which is that little amusement park, Coney Island looking thing. The weather was absolutely gorgeous. Like, it couldn't be more perfect. Then we stumbled upon some really cool markets. There was food and people making boomerangs and jewelry and art and all of this stuff. Something we did try, as you saw in the video, was kangaroo meat. I'm very, very, very sad to say that it was delicious and I would definitely eat it again, but I would rather people tell me that it wasn't kangaroo. We also did lots of shopping because the shopping in New Zealand sucks compared to Australia and the US and pretty much anywhere in the world, I swear. Later that day, we went to Bondi Beach. The water was freezing, so I didn't swim. There were so many people there though. And we got to see icebergs, which was the swimming pool that's right against the ocean. And sometimes the water from the ocean splashes up into the pool. And Bondi also had a lot of street art and really good food, and there was music, and it was just overall like a really cool beach. So then the next day we took the ferry to Manly, which is it's like 30 to 45 minute ferry ride. Manly is like a little suburb peninsula thing off of Sydney. It has a really cool beach and just the vibe is super cool there. Lots of young people. And it was so pretty because as we took the ferry back to Sydney, the sun was setting and it was gorgeous to see it set over the city from the water. Overall, I really loved Sydney. It kind of reminded me of the States in a way. Like, it could definitely be a city that was in the US for sure, other than the accent. So the next day we picked up our rental car and it was day one of our road trip, which was so fun. We stopped at a bunch of places along the way. The first place was Kiama, where they were supposed to have this like blowhole where water like spouts out of it. It was pretty anticlimactic, as you saw in the video. I think you have to stand there and wait like a long time for the water to get really rough, and we just like didn't have the time or didn't care that much. But it was still really pretty. It was like this cute little coastal town. They had a lighthouse and a lot of rocks against the water. It was gorgeous. Then our next stop was Hymes Beach at Jervis Bay, which was one of the prettiest beaches I have ever been to in the world. Actually, I think it was like the whitest sand I have ever seen in my life. And such clear crystal blue waters. I could have stayed there all day. One of the last places that we stopped was Ben Boyd National Park, which if you were ever in the area in Australia, I'd recommend you go to, but during the daytime. I've read such cool things about it and I'm really bummed we didn't actually get to see it. But it's a national park. By the time we got there, it was too dark. Didn't realize the sun set so early, but it did. But we still went and we saw the beach and the stars and such, but it was pitch black. You couldn't see anything else. Shortly after that, we stopped at a rest stop for the night. Me and Nina both slept in our 4-door sedan. It was quite awful, to be honest. We didn't really sleep. I may have slept like 2 hours. I don't think Nina slept at all. It was so uncomfortable. I will never do it again. Seriously. I will pay like any amount of money to not do that again. But to be fair, there really wasn't that many places to stay on this main road that we were on. So then day 2 of the road trip, super tired and grumpy from not sleeping. We didn't have that much longer to go actually. I think we only drove about 4 or 5 hours on the second day. The only stop we made this day was to the Moonlit Sanctuary and Conservation Center. It was so cool. We got to interact and feed kangaroos and wallabies, and we got to interact with a koala. Don't worry, I didn't get chlamydia or syphilis or whatever crazy STD that koalas carry. But honestly, I think this was the highlight of my trip. Like, I have been dying to be that close to a kangaroo my entire life. And there was this one moment when it was just me and the kangaroo and there was no one else around. And I was just feeding him and petting him, and it was just so cute. Then we finally got to Melbourne. Our hostel was right in the city, downtown, like couldn't be in a better area, but the downside of that was it was also pretty noisy. But it was a pretty cool hostel. It was massive. So the next day we did the Great Ocean Road, which was awesome. The only bad thing was that it was Anzac Day, which is New Zealand and Australia's military appreciation day. So the roads were pretty packed because no one was at work. and the weather was kind of crappy, but it was still such a cool drive. It's the coastal drive where the water is on one side and the mountains are on the other, and you drive along and there's a lot of cool things to see along the way. Our first stop was Kennett River, which we originally were going to see some more wild koalas. They're not really that wild though, because I think people feed them, so they're always there. But there was like wild parakeets or parrots or whatever they were, colorful birds, and Nina was freaking out because she's a crazy bird lady. Love you, Nina. But it was really cool. We got to feed these birds and they would fly and just land on your head and your shoulder, and it was a pleasant surprise. Our next stop and most important stop was the 12 Apostles, which were those rock formations out into the ocean, and it's just like the coolest thing that nature has made something that looks like that. Then we also saw the Island Archway and the Razorback. All of these places are about like 5-10 minutes away from each other, all part of the Port Campbell National Park. Just more really cool rock formations out in the ocean with the water splashing against the rocks. Hey guys, a bit of an outfit change because I didn't get to finish filming yesterday because the little one woke up from her nap. So I'm finishing today. Mom life! Anyways, what I was saying is the last place that we stopped at on our Great Ocean road trip was the Loch Ard Gorge. It is this massive gorge and this tiny little hidden beach, and then the water leads out into the ocean through this tiny narrow way through these rocks. It was pretty neat. And then we headed back to Melbourne. The next day was the last day that we had our rental car, so we decided to take advantage and go to Phillip Island to see the little penguins march. But before we did that, we went to the Brighton Beach bathhouses, which are just those bunch of colorful houses that lined along the beach in Melbourne. And then we headed to Phillip Island, which was about a 2.5 hour drive from Melbourne. We were on Phillip Island driving to the penguins, and we saw that there was this chocolate factory on the side of the road. Obviously, we had to stop, and it was so good. The best hot chocolate I have ever had in my life was at this random little chocolate factory in Phillip Island. It was amazing. And then it was time for the penguin parade. It was so cute. Basically, you sat on these bleachers and you watched as the little penguins came back from the ocean into their burrows. There were so many little penguins. They only come at sunset because they're really smart and they know that when the sun sets, then the birds of prey can't get them. So we had to wait until it was like pretty dark, and the weather was horrible. It was freezing, windy, cold, rainy, like it was bad, but it was so worth it because we saw the little penguins come back and they're just so cute and small and they're waddling along. However, we weren't allowed to take any pictures or videos because the light from our phones actually can temporarily or permanently blind them. So they were very strict about not letting us take pictures and such, but it was such a neat experience. I've attached some pictures that are from the website just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it was like. So the next day we had a pretty chill day. In the morning we went to the Botanical Gardens and the Shrine of Remembrance. And from the top of the shrine was really pretty skyline views of Melbourne. And that afternoon we kind of just hung out, did some laundry because I think we had bed bugs or some kind of bugs that ate us alive. They never confirmed that they were bed bugs, but I think that's what they were. But they were really nice about it. They let us wash our stuff for free and it was all handled, so it was whatever. So then it's our last day. We did a free walking tour in the morning, which was pretty cool. I learned a lot about Melbourne I didn't know. Something cool about Melbourne is that all of the good places to go, whether it be a restaurant or a cafe or a club or anything, are always going to be down some kind of dodgy alleyway or laneway. It is full of alleyways and little hidden places down them. Also full of street art, a lot of street art, especially Hosier Lane is a major one. And they also had an entire alley dedicated to AC/DC, which was like irrelevant to me, but I'm sure a lot of people think that's kind of cool. So yeah, we had a chill rest of the day shopping and hanging around, and then our flight didn't leave Melbourne until like 11:45 or midnight Sunday night, and there's a 2-hour time difference. So we didn't end up getting back to Auckland until 5:15 a.m. on Monday morning, and we both had to work by like 7:30/8 on Monday morning. So that was a pretty rough day. And when I got back to the airport, Auckland Airport is so strict about what you bring into this country. Like, it is insane. And I didn't even realize it, but I had bought an air plant that was attached to this geode rock thing at one of the markets in Melbourne. And I didn't even think about it. And I was just walking through. I already went through customs, and all of a sudden the dog like started freaking out at me. And I was like, oh my God, like, what do I have? And they were like, this is a real, and I like played dumb at that point because I was like, oh no, like I realized that I had to declare that and I didn't. And so the guy was like, okay, like wait right here, I'll be right back. So I waited, and it was like 20 minutes later. Like, meanwhile, we're going to be late for work. And he comes back and he was like, you are so lucky that I couldn't find your arrival card, because if I would have, you would have been charged $400 for bringing in this plant without declaring it. And I was like, oh, $400. I was so blessed, so lucky that he couldn't find that arrival card. And like, now I know for next time, especially, just be extra, extra careful and try and think of like everything I have that would be like not allowed in this country, because that would have been so bad. Like, I don't have $400, especially after Australia. But I was very lucky, and I'm very happy that I didn't get fined. So yeah, overall, amazing trip. It was so much fun. Me and Nina don't hate each other. We're still friends, so that's a good sign. We just had the best time ever. I can't believe we were there for 10 days. We still saw so much, but there's still so much of Australia that I want to see still, so I can't wait to go back. I really do apologize that this video was mostly me talking. I know that's not really what you guys want to see. You want to see what I'm doing, but I will do my best next time to take more video footage. I don't know, I kind of just forgot this time, but I hope you guys did enjoy. I miss you guys, and I love you guys. Bye.